Good morning. I'm Winnie Amondi, and this is Group 1. And we are presenting on indirect rule in northern Nigeria. Indirect rule in northern Nigeria was a system of governance implemented by the British from 1900 to 1960. This approach involved governing through pre-existing indigenous power structure, such as the traditional rulers like emirs, rather than directly administering the territories. The British aimed to control this region by working with the local leaders who retained significant authority, maintaining stability, and also reducing the need for a large British administrative presence. So, in northern Nigeria, the emirs played a crucial role under indirect rule. Emirs were traditional rulers in northern Nigeria, serving as heads of various emirates within the Sokoto Caliphate. They exercised considerable power before and during the British colonial period. Uh, so we're going to look at the roles of the emirs in the northern Nigeria. The first one, the emirs settle disputes. Emirs played a crucial role in resolving conflicts and maintaining peace among their subjects. The second role is that enlightening subjects. They educated their subjects on civil responsibility and the importance of community development. The third one is maintaining law and order. Emirs ensure that law and order were upheld with their domains, addressing issues like theft, dispute, and boundary conflicts. The fourth one, we have preserving cultural heritage. Emirs safeguard the cultural heritage of their people, ensuring that tradition, language, and customs were preserved amidst modern influences. And the last role of the emirs were the communicating policies. Emirs communicated colonial policies to the people, supervised public works, appointed village heads, and oversaw of infrastructure like roads and markets.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharon Obuya. I'm going to take you through how British administered indirect rule in northern Nigeria. The British administered indirect rule in northern Nigeria by working through the existing indigenous power structures, particularly the emirates. The key aspects of how this system were implemented include: number one, collaboration with emirates. The British entrusted significant authority to emirs, allowing them to govern their territories under British oversight. Number two, tax collection. The emirs were responsible for collecting taxes on behalf of the British administration, ensuring a revenue stream for governance. Number three, judicial system. Emirs oversaw local justice system, resolving disputes and maintaining law and order within their domains. Number four, British oversight. While emirs had authority in day-to-day governance, they were ultimately answerable to British colonial officials, who intervened when necessary to uphold colonial interests. Residence advisors. Each emir had a British resident advisor who provided guidance and represented British interests within the emirates. Through this system, the British aimed to govern northern Nigeria with minimal indirect involvement, leveraging existence of traditional local leaders to maintain control and stability in the region. Thank you.
I'm Edwin Nyabuto, taking you through the advantages of indirect rule in northern Nigeria. Number one, it was cheaper as compared to direct rule, therefore saving costs associated with salaries, housing, and infrastructure. Number two, we have preservation of native institutions. Indirect rule allowed for continuity of traditional institutions which were essential components of social cohesion. We have the elimination of bad practices, as it facilitated the eradication of certain undesirable traditions such as slavery. We have the modernization of traditional institutions, whereby it enabled improvement of traditional legal and administrative systems. We have trust building, as it fostered trust among population as they perceive themselves as being ruled by their own leaders. Lastly, we have the encouragement of tribalism, as it reinforced regional identities and allegiance, contributing to future ethno-political issues. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Maxwell Kiprono, still from Group 1, and I'm going to take you through the disadvantages of indirect rule in northern Nigeria. Number one is chiefdom despotism. When we speak of chiefdom despotism, we mean that local chiefs gain increased powers, leading to instances of corruption and abuses of power. And number two is the alienation of educated elite. Indirect rule excludes the educated class from positions of influence, resulting in frustration and resentment. And number three is what you call puppet leadership. This puppet leadership, we mean that chiefs were seen as tools of the British, losing credibility and respect among the populace. The local people could see the chiefs as the colonizers. And number three is divide and rule. The divide and rule point means that indirect rule exacerbated divisions between traditional leaders and educated elite, fueling competition and conflict. And number five is imposition of unqualified chiefs. Sometimes the British appointed unqualified chiefs, further damaging the legitimacy of the system. So some chiefs were not competent, and it discourages the British rule. Allow me to go to conclusion of the indirect rule in northern Nigeria. In conclusion, as we know that indirect rule means that British ruling indirectly, or British government using the local leaders to rule on behalf of them. Now, the end of indirect rule marked a shift from British colonial oversight to Nigeria self-rule, allowing for the establishment of independent governance structures and the formation of the national identity. This transition also brought about changes in leadership dynamics, as local rulers who had been instrumental under the indirect rule now had to adapt to the new political realities and participate in the evolving democratic processes. So thank you so much for your attention. This was Group 1 presenting indirect rule in northern Nigeria, and remember that indirect rule was conducted by the High Commissioner called Frederick Lukad. Thank you very much.